February the 24th, 2022, the full-scale war against Ukraine was the point of no return for the Russian Federation and its citizens. Almost all Russians were influenced by this event. Regardless of the degree of opposition to the authorities, today in the Federation, as a result of mobilization, some are getting killed at the front, others are thrown into prison.
Since the start of the war, about 600 cases have been initiated related to anti-war protests in one form or another. These were both comments on social networks, participation in peaceful meetings, as well as actions aimed at damaging various pro-war banners that hang in Russian cities. These are also cases related to damage of property, in particular railway lines.
One verdict per day. In May 2023 alone, Russian courts handed down 30 criminal convictions against anti-war activists. The reason can be different: a repost of a message, a status on a social network, an anti-war sticker, clothes or a keychain in the colors of the Ukrainian flag. You can go to jail for your child's drawing. So on July the 4th, the court sent Alexei Moskalyov to jail for 2 years and banned him from using the internet. The court sentenced him for the anti-war drawing of his daughter.
Since the start of the war, about 400 internet resources have been blocked. Resources which covered issues including war, opposition issues, and since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, 44 repressive laws on a variety of topics were submitted to the State Duma, from infringement on the rights of LGBTQ+ people and strengthening or supplementing the criminal law with special norms on responsibility for expressing anti-war opinion.
According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, since February the 24th last year, the losses of the Russian army amount to more than 232,000 Russian military. Since the beginning of the full-scale war, the Russian army has not achieved significant results on the battlefield. Russian soldiers are demoralized and do not believe in their victory. Because of the so-called partial mobilization, about 1 million people left Russia. The Russian elite, realizing the defeat in the war is inevitable, either flees the country or begins to express dissatisfaction with the current Russian leadership. The president does not control the situation either at the front line or inside the country. This became clear when the head of the Wagner PMC Prigozhin revolted and reached almost Moscow without hindrance in a day.
We are at the headquarters. It's 7:30 in the morning. We have military facilities in Rostov, including the airfield, under our control. This private army tried to mutiny. It is not clear how the situation developed further, but somehow the rebellion didn't take place. I cannot say that it succeeded, but it has succeeded at some point. And now Yevgeny Prigozhin is in a situation of partial liquidation of his business and possibly relocation to Belarus.
Prigozhin's rebellion signals the end of the Putin era in Russia, experts emphasize.
Vladimir Putin is a man who is not supported voluntarily by anyone, neither the Russians nor the security forces, except perhaps Alexander Lukashenko for his own opportunistic reasons. Accordingly, the Russian Federation is a state that rests on violence and on who carries on this violence. As soon as violence begins to be perpetrated by Yevgeny Prigozhin, the inhabitants of Rostov-on-Don come out and give flowers to the Wagner mercenaries, because they are now in power here.
The helplessness and unwillingness of the Kremlin and local authorities to control the situation in the country is also evidenced by the special operation of Russian volunteers who serve on the side of Ukraine. They have also crossed the Russian border not feeling much resistance.
Here you can see everything is in fragments. Smoke is everywhere, everything is destroyed.
Belgorod, Rostov-on-Don, events a few weeks apart, May and June of this year, once again showed that Putin no longer has a monopoly on violence in the country.
This failed rebellion showed what a Russian society is. This society fearlessly hates its current elite and in principle doesn't want a value revolution, which is a paradox. Not a value revolution that is taking place in developed countries, including Ukraine, but it wants to get a riot in order to come to the houses of the elite and tear them to pieces. That is why the Russian elite is now in a state of extreme panic. The elites understand their own people will take revenge for everything they've done to them.
The office of the President of Ukraine believes that the process of self-destruction of the Russian Empire has already begun. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.